You and I have been given a purpose. We have been given a stewardship. We have been called into battle. We have a reason to live. We have a reason to die.
God is sovereign over everything, but he is worthy of praise, not just for the creation of the universe, but for the salvation of your soul.
Faith is not a creative thing, a meritorious thing. It's a receptive thing. Faith is not a creator, it's a beholder. It beholds the righteousness of Christ.
Faith will always move us to action, to a life of obedience, to a life of sacrifice, to a life of service, to a committed life that believes that the God who spoke the world out of nothingness is the same God who has promised you life abundant and life eternal, and his promises are true.
You are welcome to this sovereign Savior who has no to-do list by which you might convert his gift of savability into salvation, but who, by his efficacious atonement, has fully accomplished salvation, a salvation to which you need add nothing.
Our faith in who Christ claims to be is our first business.
Our primary assignment must never be compromised. We are called to faithfully preach the word.
Grace and peace, you guys. Welcome to Unshakable with April Chapman, where we discuss all things social, cultural, political, and theological from a biblical perspective. Happy Mother's Day weekend. Shout out to all the beautiful ladies out there who have been blessed with the fruit of your womb to be somebody's mama. I am not sure if your family has taken care of you this weekend, but I am hoping that you are enjoying the Mother's Day weekend with lots of festivities. Hopefully, they're letting you put your feet up, sip on your favorite beverage, or just showering you with lots of love and gifts, if that's your thing. Welcome to the live stream. We're only live streaming tonight on YouTube and Rumble and X. Y'all, I'm tired of fooling with Facebook. Ain't nobody over there. Nobody is watching me over there on Facebook. And if you took for granted that I was live streaming over on Facebook, it's your fault. You've missed out because of the lack of viewership over there. We're just going to go where we are welcome. So, if you are new here, if you would, for me, go ahead and hit that like button. I want to welcome you to the live stream. I want you to subscribe if you've not done so already, and then share this live stream with others, because today's topic, you guys, we're going to cover a lot of things tonight. I've got about 4 topics on the roster. Not sure if we'll get through them all since we're starting so late, but my goal is to move quickly through them just to give you an update as to what's going on. And the first topic, it is one that is incredibly disturbing. In fact, it's probably one of the most disturbing topics that I've covered in a while. So, what we need to do, I'm going to share my screen, but the first thing I want to talk about is this current allegation that is happening with Nike. Nike, yes, Nike, the athletic wear company and the footwear giant. They have, as you guys know, I mean, I used to wear, Nike growing up, but Nike has built an entire empire on the backs of athletes and champions. But now, you guys, now they're being accused of funding a study that, in plain terms, medically experiments on children. You heard that right. I did not stutter. According to the former NCAA swimmer and women's rights advocate, Riley Gaines, who is beautiful, and I absolutely love how vocal she's been lately. But according to Riley, Nike is funding a study. Y'all listen to this, because I was like, okay, I am hoping that they pull back on this and don't move forward. But according to Riley, Nike is funding a study that injects minor boys with puberty blockers and hormones in order to physically impair them so that they can, wait for it, you guys, compete against girls. Like, these fools have lost their minds. Let me repeat it for you. They are funding a study that is going to experiment on boys and give them hormones on purpose to see if they're able to physically impair these boys so that they can compete against the girls. So let me share my screen. And yes, there we go. I want to play this clip so that you guys can see, or at least listen to Riley explain all of the foolishness. So let's take a listen.
Okay, are we just going to disregard the fact that Nike is apparently funding a study that disfigures young boys to understand if they can be physically impaired enough to compete with girls without significant retained male advantage? And if you're confused what this means, it means Nike is funding a study to give children injectable hormones and puberty blockers. Yes, you heard that right. Nike, the shoe brand, the athletic wear brand, is doing medical experimentation on minors. I haven't bought a Nike product in years. I've known about their use of exploited workers, child labor in third world countries, how they went all in on Colin Kaepernick, how they used a man to model women's products, Dylan Mulvaney, in a woman's sports bra, right? So Nike was already not an option for me. But this experiment is like Nike's own Tuskegee experiment. I guess you can't know the effects of intentionally harming children without intentionally harming children. And from a shoe brand. Like, did Bud Light teach them nothing? So this is from a piece the New York Times did just this past week. You can pause to read it all. Basically, it's saying this scientist who identifies as trans himself, Joanna Harper, is leading a study, an ambitious study, of trans adolescents that measures before they begin hormone therapy and after they have begun to medically transition every 6 months, 4 or 5 years. You see it and highlighted right here. This study is being funded by Nike.
Okay, so I wanted to pause that. Darn, I wish it would have stay right there. That's where I want it to stay. So there's this study of trans adolescents. So these are teenagers who are still children. Okay, they're not adults, who they're already identifying as trans. This study is designed to measure, there's this 10-step fitness program, like before they start the kids on the hormones. After they've done that, then after they've begun to medically transition, they want to create, this is my opinion, they want to create cyborgs. They're trying to determine if they can't perform gender affirming care, then they can't bring people into the study. So it says the problem was Trump's separate order targeting medical care for transgender youth. I'm assuming this person is trans themselves, but I can't even believe that I have to cover this foolishness. But let me let Riley finish, and then I'm going to go ahead. We'll recap and I'll give you guys my commentary.
Nike, And Nike has yet to answer to this. They have spent days now avoiding all reporters and journalists asking them if this is true and why they're engaging in this. It'd be a shame if we tagged them in the comments and let them know that we're watching and that we want answers. So if this wasn't enough to put you off from buying Nike ever again, maybe the fact that they're investing money into seeing if you can medically abuse boys enough to make it fair for them to compete against girls is.
All right, you guys. So I went ahead and I played the clip of Riley Gaines really, really quickly. I want to recap this for the folks in the back where like this is not what's really happening. Nike is alleging or allegedly trying to find out how much do they need to medically mutilate a young boy's body so that he can no longer have so that he no yeah right so he no longer has a biological advantage over girls in sports. So I don't know if the goal was like, well, we just want to be a little bit more inclusive, so we need to do this. And I'm like, no, that's not inclusion. That's not inclusion. That's not science. That's not progressive. That is child abuse. It is wicked. It is demonic. These evil people are so hell bent on just perverting God's created order and his natural design for creation that they will go out of their way to financially support experiments that will make boys weaker and feminine on purpose just so they can push their twisted agenda of having biological boys compete against biological women. And when I saw this on Twitter, I was like, what in the Frankenstein have we become? How is it that we're going to be able to have a well-adjusted society if these are the things that this is a shoe company? This is not a pharmaceutical company or some biotech mogul trying to figure this out. This is a shoe company. And it makes me ask the question, one, why we need answers. We need to hear from them. But two, what is the thing that's motivating an athletic corporate giant to fund something like this? And so, like I said, Nike obviously, as of now, I don't know, maybe a couple hours ago, they did say something, but they've not responded. They've been ducking and dodging every journalist and every inquiry like some guilty man at a press conference. But I want to ask why. I think the reason is because they don't want accountability. They want compliance. In my opinion, they want to conduct this experiment under the radar, and then when they believe they've been successfully, when I should say, when they've successfully created these perfect male cyborgs, then they'll go public with it as a rebuttal to no, there's no disadvantage with the girls who have to play against these trans kids. No, they're just the same because see, we've had them on this therapy for so long, and their strength is gone. We've taken every semblance of masculinity away from them, and now they can compete just like the girls can. And I'm like, you know what? Y'all are sick. I think they think that the culture is going to sit back like blind sheep. I'm thankful that Riley Gaines is involved because she has built a platform bringing attention to this. And I, for one, see, my kids don't really play in sports. And so, even though this doesn't directly affect me, I'm trying to understand why a shoe brand would have such a vested interest in something like this. And one of the reasons why I think it is because demons think that, particularly the ones that support or the ones that are in leadership at Nike, I would say, they think that if they can just plaster little rainbow flags on their social media accounts in June and hand out sponsorships to confuse TikTok influencers, that they can just silence the rest of us with, branding and slogans. And I'm like, no, I think we've had enough of this. And now we're at the point where we're ready to be like, y'all have effectively lost your mind. And one of the main questions I have is, where are the feminists? right? Where are all of the women who claim to be so interested in protecting women? Where are y'all? This is how I know this has nothing to do with protecting women. Because the wicked culture, they want to erase biological distinctions and turn the entire world into a planet full of freaks and weirdos and mentally incapacitated psychopaths and cyborgs. That's what they want. And I promise you, I feel like the more stuff that comes out, I feel like I'm watching an episode of Star Trek or something. This is not normal. None of this is normal. And so for all of the little tree loving, hippie environmentalist types, I'm like, where's y'all's outrage? Where is your outrage of this toxic warfare that's being waged on this vulnerable population of adolescents who are clearly dealing with some sort of mental disorder that is leading them to believe that in this season of their life right now that they're trans? Many of them, honestly, if you guys remember growing up being a teenager or a preteen, like everything is weird. Like your body is doing things and you don't really understand what it's doing. And one day you want to be a cat. And the next day you think you can fly. And then the day after that, you're like, you know what? I think I'm gonna be a tomboy, or I'm gonna be into golf, or I want to be a thug. Like you have so many things that are going through because your hormones, trust me, we deal with hormone dysregulation as adolescents, and listen, when you get older it gets worse. We crazy. Premenopausal and perimenopausal women, we ain't got good sense either. So it's almost like they're taking advantage of periods in human development. They're finding the vulnerabilities and deciding that, you know what, we're going to exploit this population. And we're going to exploit them and do all kinds of experiments on them. And we don't really care about the long-term consequences of this. No, we're just doing this right now because if we can figure out a way to make a buck out of it, who cares if their lives are destroyed on the back end? Now, here's the kicker with this. My thing is, if this were a pharmaceutical company running experiments on children in Africa, like the outrage would be deafening. And if this were a story about experimenting on animals, you best to believe PETA would be setting up shop outside of the Nike headquarters right now. But this is different. See, this has the rainbow stamp of approval. So suddenly, we're supposed to just nod our heads and say, this is science. And I'm like, nah, this is not science. The left has zero respect for humanity or science. Because if they respected science, they would recognize the humanity of the Imago Dei and that God established male and female, and that can be proven, and that is rooted in science. Just like they claim to respect humanity, but we've seen this before, right? They had no problem experimenting on Black men in the Tuskegee trials, giving Black men syphilis on purpose. So now they're coming for your kids. They're coming for your kids. They are going to find some confused, traumatized kid who cannot make rational decisions and convince him that he is a girl. And to truly help him get in touch with his feminine side, they're going to start him on this cocktail of hormone disrupting drugs that intentionally make him weaker so that he doesn't have the biological advantage of a man competing against a woman. I'm like, you know what? Y'all are sick. Now, I thought the argument from the pro-trans community is that trans women, and y'all forgive me, I don't know if the proper term for a man that believes he is a woman is a trans woman or a trans man, but if I mess it up, just know that's what confusion and chaos does. It causes things to be confused. But if the trans woman, I thought the argument was that they're just like real women and they are the same. I'm like, so does this experiment by admission prove that there is a biological difference in strength and muscle mass that gives the trans woman an unfair advantage? I don't know. So Instead of the left just admitting to their lunacy, now they kind of are admitting to it, but in order to make it make more sense in their warped and twisted mind and to make it more fair, they figure, let's just biologically mess with what the Lord has made so that the physical attributes of this person now match the psychological attributes that they believe themselves to possess. Y'all, this is a spiritual war against God's design. It's a war against God's design, God's image in the earth, and his created order. And I am telling you, soon, y'all, we're going to be living on a planet with a bunch of mutants. Mark my words. You think you've seen a science fiction movie? No, real life is going to be way much more interesting. We're going to have an entire segment of the population that wants to live in the sewer, and they're going to believe themselves to be Ninja Turtles. Just watch. I'm going to have to change my name from April Chapman to April O'Neil. And I'm going to start going down to the sewer, reporting on the sewage foolishness if we keep this up. And I know y'all like, she cracking jokes. Well, right now I am kind of cracking a joke. But that's the extent of where this is the implication of us giving in and saying, well, that's just how, the left, they always into something crazy. No, how left does the left need to go before the people of God who are still identifying as left recognize that, yeah, it's time for me to get off the ship. It's time for me to get off the ship. So here's what I'd like to do as we wrap this up. There are some theological implications and the things that the scriptures say. The Bible's not silent on this. In fact, I love one of my favorite Bible verses of old is Romans 1. Romans 1 warns about this. It explicitly says in Romans 1, I know Romans 1 off the top of my head, but I don't want to misquote it. Claiming to be wise, they've become fools and worshiped and served the creature rather than the creator, who is blessed forever. Amen. But before you get to that part, it talks about how they've exchanged the glory of the immortal God for images resembling mortal man and birds and animals and creeping things. Then it says, claiming to be wise, they become fools, right? So what we are witnessing is what happens when a culture actively suppresses the truth in unrighteousness. You may believe that the Bible is just this collection of nice stories, but when you read through the testimony of scripture, you be like, I think this is where we are right about now. This Romans 1 is proving to be pretty prophetic and pretty true. Because when you reject the creator and you start to mutilate his creation, this is the result. Really quickly, you guys, let me read to you in Matthew, I want to say it's Matthew 18. Matthew 18, when after it's talking about church discipline, and it talks about, let me see. Nope. When he's talking about who is the greatest, he says, but whoever causes one of these little ones who believe in me to sin, it would be better for him to have a great millstone fastened around his neck and to be drowned in the depths of the sea. Now, in this context, I know some people like to apply this to all people without distinction. I brought it up because there's an application that can be gleaned from this. It really is talking about if you purposely cause those who belong to God to stumble, those who believe in me to sin. But what I'd like to do is the fact that, like how Romans 1 says, those who give approval to those who practice these things are just as bad. I kind of want to draw a parallel that way, because what happens when you're not just causing a child to sin, but you're actively experimenting on them to serve your ideological agenda? Do you think that you're not going to be held accountable for that? because that's not empowering children. That's not looking out for their well being. That's not supporting fairness. That is sacrificing them on the altar of cultural Marxism and radical gender ideology, which all are both anti God, anti Christian worldviews. And so the last thing I'll say, this is a war on women and the weaponization of boys. Because here's the irony of this entire thing. We were told that this was about women's empowerment. At one point, that was the argument. But now, women like Riley Gaines, who's an actual woman, she's being shoved to the sidelines in favor of the ones who just believe themselves to be women. So Nike used to say, if you have a body, you're an athlete. Now they're like, if you mutilate your body, you're a role model. And so I don't care how you try to slice this. You cannot erase God's design with a scalpel, right? A syringe or a sponsorship, Nike. I don't care how much we celebrate Dylan Mulvaney. He is still a man, a girly one and real petite nonetheless, but he's still a man. And you cannot transition your way out of the truth. Okay? Chromosomes don't care about your feelings. God made you exactly the way that you're supposed to be, and you don't have to like it, but the truth does not change and it's not relative. Real women are tired of being erased by this madness. And if real women don't stand up and speak out and say something, you're going to start feeling the assault way more stronger than it already is. So what can we do? First, we need to speak up. Okay, we can speak up for the unborn. Now we need to speak up. Listen, share this video, tag Nike, tag your mama, tag your daddy. I don't know, tag Riley Gaines. It don't matter. But we need to get more eyes on this foolishness. Keep your eyes out. I'm interested to see if Nike's going to come out and say something about this. However, I also believe speaking up with your wallet. Now, you don't have to do this. I am not trying to be, Jamal Bryant 2.0 and have, whole churches leading boycotts. Okay. Because to me, that's just silly. However, if you feel led to stop giving these wicked corporations your money, just don't buy their products. Like, we ain't got to make a big thing about it. We're just like, oh, we see you. Oh, no, I'm not buying those. Okay. Don't just stop buying the Nikes. Explain and tell your kids why. No, you can't have that shoe. Tell your friends, tell your neighbors why. Make it clear that you don't fund abuse, no matter how good the sneakers look. And then above all else, let's just pray for our children. I do believe that all of the confusion that we're seeing today, they try to say that transgenderism has always been with us, but I think now it is a level of indoctrination and it's social pressure and it's the cool thing to do as to why so many are confused and misled. And then they're being used by adults, who have sinister motives. And so I am just praying that we'll have more voices that will talk about these things and cover these issues, because the people of God, we ain't bending or bowing to this foolishness. However, I can see how families who, particularly if they are becoming influenced by the psychological medical community that will tell you, if you don't give into this, you'll end up with a dead child. Would you rather a trans child or a dead child? And I'm like, no, don't, that is, why is that the only options available? Why can't we kind of affirm to the child whose frontal lobe is not still developed who they are and who God made them to be? We don't know why they're displaying this gender confusion, but what we're not about to do is give in to the child and allow them to be transitioned and medically abused because they're just a little confused right now. No, we don't buy into the lie that child abuse is love and that mutilation is medicine. We're not doing that. So that's all I wanted to say about that topic. I'm interested to hear what you guys think down in the comments below. If you guys have already stopped buying Nike, kudos to you. But if you have thoughts on what you think other Christians should be doing to resist or push back against this gender madness, let's talk about it in the comments below. And so we're going to move on Y'all. All right. And on a more, no, this ain't jovial. This is actually sad too. Frontier Airlines. Y'all. When I saw this, y'all, my Bible looks so bad on camera. I'm sorry. It's loved. Okay. It's loved, but okay. It's been through some things. It has. I've had this Bible almost 10 years now, maybe. Yeah, I think. I'm trying to see why it looks so bad. I mean, I take it everywhere. I think I got it in 2016. My mama bought me this Bible. Yep, March 30th, 2016. And it's one of she bought it for my birthday. It's one of my most favorite gifts. But let me get to these super chats. Let's get to the super chats before we move on to Frontier Airlines. Hey, Chow. Good to see you. I miss seeing you in the live chat, Chow. Chow said, may your father and mother rejoice. May she who gave you birth be joyful. Father and mother, right. Amen. Proverbs 23:25. Happies. Wow. Happy Mother's Day. Maranatha. Yes, Jesus, come quickly. Thank you so much, Chow. I really appreciate that. Chow also says, let's see. Jesus said to his disciples, things that cause people to stumble are bound to come, but woe to anyone through whom they come. Come on, y'all. Chow always brings the word of God to bear. He is literally like my real-time scribe. So I am thankful when he shows up in the live chat with an applicable scripture that kind of goes with exactly what we're talking about. I really do appreciate your moderation and your membership and just your overall support for this channel. To God be the glory. Thank you so much, Chow. All right. Now, y'all, Frontier Airlines. Now, I have flown on Frontier before. I have never flown on Spirit. I just wanted to do it just to see how it was. I've never flown on Southwest. Wait a minute. On Frontier once? I may have, but after this, I said, listen, y'all gonna have to do a better job of screening these darn employees or said contractors that you bring on staff. So I saw this on Twitter a couple of days ago, and I've been meaning to cover it. And I can't even introduce the commentary to you. I can't do it. You kind of just got to watch it for yourself. So I've labeled this episode Orangutan employees at Frontier Airlines. Now, I made orangutans plural, but employees is already plural. So it's orangutans employees, which grammatically doesn't make sense, but there are no rules in this vernacular here. You see, orangutan is a made-up term. It's a behavior descriptor that I've applied to female imbeciles who cannot manage their misery. And as a result, they show out. They ain't got good sense. They embarrass themselves, the culture. They just make everybody miserable, and there's chaos around them, and they're just horrible people. And so what you guys are about to witness right now, as soon as I can just get that on the screen by itself, you are about to witness a pair. It is often that orangutans travel in packs, right? Sometimes they do travel in packs. Sometimes you only really just need one to really feel the full weight and gravity of just how trifling these beings are. But today we have a pack of them, right? Just a pack of orangutans. So without further ado, I want y'all to take a look at the orangutans in action.
They made their flight. You did. And you think, you're going to check me in. I bet you we won't.
Okay? I paid for a ticket.
And you didn't pay $25 for an agent assistant, and you checked in 3 hours later. Hello.
I just said that
I. Get on your flight.
Yeah, I just said that I would pay the $25.
And you thought you was going to get on your flight. And you thought you was going to get on your flight. And you thought you was going to get on your flight. And you thought you was going to get on your flight.
I literally paid for a ticket. I'm here 30 minutes. I'm here 30 minutes before my flight, and they're not letting me check in.
And you're not getting on your flight.
Because it's a policy. We don't control that.
And you will never fly
You were
on
about to
Frontier
let me
Airlines
check
again.
in. You were about to let me check in.
Oh,
and you decided that you ain't gonna let me check in.
Make me check you in. Make
You
me
literally
check you
work
in.
for a
Make
company
me
that
check
I
you
bought
in.
a
Make
plane
me check
ticket
you
for.
in.
I'm here 30 minutes before the
Can you
flight.
please leave, sir?
No,
Can you please leave my personal space?
I'm not in your personal space.
You're in
This
my
is
face?
not
I
your
work
personal
here.
space.
This is my stationary.
This is not
I'm at
your
Frontier.
personal space. You work for a company. This
you
is
get loud
not
for
your
what?
personal space.
We ain't gotta worry about it. We ain't gotta worry about it.
You don't have to
We ain't
worry
getting
about
on
it. You're literally not doing your
gotta get on no
job
flight.
for a customer that has paid for a plane ticket to get home.
I told you to stop putting the camera on me, sir.
I'm literally here at Frontier. I bought a ticket and they are not letting me check in. For no reason whatsoever.
Well, you said you're never flying the airline again, so we might as well help you out and have you not fly the airline.
I've already bought a ticket. I've literally already bought a ticket, and this is your reaction.
Y'all, I did it. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I realized I was muted and I was trying to prevent the feedback from the video. Let me start over. I'm going to play this again. I apologize, y'all. I really do. It's getting late. My hand-eye coordination's not that good. I realized I was muted. I'm gonna play it again, but before I do, what I want to do is I want to read the news article to kind of give you guys some backstory. But before I do that, I did fly Frontier Airlines last October. And I flew when I went to Raleigh. And this is how Frontier gets you. Their airline prices are relatively cheap, but they are king of the nickel and dime. They will nickel and dime you for everything. Now, every airline charges for bags. Every airline does that. But they charge you if you need assistance at the counter, you got to pay a fee for that. If your bag is a half a pound over, instead of just paying like a nominal increase fee, it's like $150. Like, it's just wild. So this wild viral footage captures Frontier Airlines gate agents getting into a bust up with a passenger who had sniped. I'm never flying this SHITTY airline again after being hit with an unexpected $25 fee just to check in. The caught on camera saga erupted when the male passenger, a 45-year-old married father of three, was trying to check in for his Frontier flight from Raleigh, North Carolina to Boston last Friday after a week-long business trip. The passenger, who didn't want to be identified, told the Post that he'd arrived at the airport with roughly 15 minutes to spare, but wasn't able to check in on the electronic kiosk because, unbeknownst to him, he had missed the airline's 60-minute pre-departure window. When he went to speak to a Frontier employee, he was told he needed to cough up $25 fee to check in at the desk per the airline's policy. Now, let me explain something. I understand corporate policies, but because I've been in a service, customer-facing environment before, you have to, if you really love your job and you love the organization that you represent, or you just want to be the best kind of employee that balances company policy with stellar service, this is an opportunity for you to show yourself to be the amazing employee you are, to say, you know what, sir, our policy dictates this. But in light of the fact you have been traveling and you've done this, let me figure out the best way to help you so you can get on your way. Nope, orangutans cannot do that. Here's what I want to do. I want to play it again, and then I am going to explain to you exactly what you are watching. And I'm going to explain to you, I'm going to give you some insight into the orangutan behavior and other circumstances where this is actually the norm. This is not an outlier. This is the norm. Let's watch it again.
They made that flight. You did. And you think, you're going to check me in. I bet you we won't. Okay?
I paid for a ticket.
And you didn't pay $25 for agent assist and you checked in 3 hours later. Hello.
I just said that
the attitude, the aggressive, matter of fact, like I have never, ever seen an employee go out of their way to be this disrespectful and nasty on the clock. Like you're in your company employee uniform. You've got the Frontier badge on. First of all, why are you and the orangutan next to you both recording this? It's almost as if they purposely want to make an example out of the customer, because in the orangutan's mind, they think they're right. They see orangutans, they ain't got good sense, right? They can't think in proper categories and discern, be like, you know what, this might be the company policy. And technically, I am in the right. However, the way I do it, the way I speak to the customer, the way I communicate the company policy to the customer, and the way I treat the customer, see, they can't chew bubble gum and walk. They can't do that. This is who these women are. The orangutan is a female imbecile behaviorally. She only knows chaos and disruption and disorderly conduct because it flows and it emanates from the darkened heart and the miserable personality and characteristic traits that are just ingrained so deep in them. Oh, Jesus can change a person's heart who functions in the world like this and believes that they're right. Listen to the taunting and the antagonizing that this woman is going to participate in.
Your flight.
Yeah, I just said that I would pay the $25.
And you thought you was going to get on your flight. And you thought you was going to get on your flight. And you thought you was going to get on your flight. And you thought you was going to get on your.
You see that? She do that to her baby daddy. You see, in order to gain control, maintain control, and to get the upper hand, they constantly reiterate and repeat themselves. And you thought you was going to get on that flight. And you thought you was going to get on that flight. See, what they're trying to do, they're trying to push this man's buttons because they want him to snap and react just like they crazy baby daddy does. Right? This right here, I have a name. I have a name for this one, but I'm drawing a blank. Shaquana. This is a Shaquana move right here. See, Shaquana, the baby daddy, a lot of times he want to come and pick up Taquayshawn. And because Shaquana is mad that Taquayshawn Sr. don't want to be with her anymore, whenever Taquayshawn calls to be like, hey, I want to pick up baby Tay for the weekend because, my grandparents are coming in town. She don't have a real reason why she can't cooperate. She's just doing so because she's miserable. She can't manage her misery. Her life is full of chaos. And so she show out that antagonizing and that, oh, you thought you was going to pick up your son. Oh, you thought you was going to pick up your son. Like all of that, the little finger and. I can't believe I am witnessing in a corporate environment, but this is the culture. When I tell you that the culture is trash, when I tell you that this is reflective of generations of bastards raising bastards, I wish some of y'all would try to prove me wrong. What else do you call this? Women who were raised to respect men because they were raised with men and they were around men don't act like this. This is matriarchal squalor. This is the orangutan behavior elevated in the corporate sector. These are the women that they get the jobs where they got to be the bulldog gatekeeper, where they got to break the bad news to the customer, but they don't know how to season their words with grace or any sort of salt at all. They're listen. I don't know how this man was able to hold it together without hauling off and just knocking her out. And I know that sounds like I'm advocating for violence, but when you act like a rabid dog like this, sometimes how else do you put down a rabid dog? You got to put him down. You got to put him down. I'm just saying. Now, if you want to take what I just said and walk away thinking that I'm calling her a rabid dog and saying she need to be put down, then that your interpretation may or may not be consistent with the sentiment I was trying to convey. But I'll leave that up to you. But listen to the taunting.
I literally paid for a ticket. I'm here 30 minutes. I'm here 30 minutes before my flight, and they're not letting me check in.
And you're not getting on your flight.
Because it's a policy. We don't control that.
She told that man, and you're not getting on your flight. Well, see, this is what I want to know. I want to know who is the older woman behind the counter that works there that ain't snatched both of them up by the neck and be like, what the heck is wrong with you? But you know what? She don't see nothing wrong with it because she probably act just like that. This the matriarchal squalor. That was Big Mama right here. This Big Mama. You see Big Mama right there? She just going on about her business, like ain't nothing wrong, ain't nothing happening, because she don't see nothing wrong with this. This is completely normal to her because she got granddaughters that live with her that act like this. This is all normal. This is all normal. And then this one right here, looking like Lil Wayne's little sister, she's like, it's the policy. And then, it's the policy and you're not getting on the flight.
Not letting me check in.
And you're not getting on your flight.
Because it's a policy. We don't control that.
You will never fly.
You were about to let me check in. You were about to let me check in. And you decided that you ain't going to let me check in.
Make me check you in. Make me check you in. This is what they do to the baby daddy. You can tell, they're professionals. This ain't their first rodeo. They have done this so many times to the people in their lives, whether it's their cousins or their uncles or the baby daddies. This is the only way that these Shaquana types know how to engage. They have no concept of, you know what, on principle. And hear me clearly, I'm not saying that the customer is always right 100% of the time. However, in a situation like this, where the customer is not being aggressive and antagonizing, and they're just like, can you just help me? I just want to go home. They have the power. And because they hold the upper hand, they are going to constantly remind this man, you ain't getting on this flight, because to get on this flight, you got to go through me. And I don't want you to get on the flight. You thought you was getting on this flight. It's a policy. These women think they own Frontier Airlines. You would think they had corporate stock shares where they're like, if we let this man on the flight, it's going to impact our entire bottom line. So we can't let him on. They have internalized their aggression and their orangutan energy so much so that they've brought it to the workplace, and they don't even know the difference between, okay, how I treat my baby daddy at home and how I act at work needs to be separate and distinct from each other. They can't. They can't manage their misery enough to leave this foolishness at home. And I am disappointed at the meemaw behind them who ain't been like, whoa, baby, that's not how we do. We don't talk to customers like that. What's wrong with you, Shaquana? Take a break. Or go smoke a cigarette. Or go smoke a blunt. Whatever it is that they do. You know these types. She hasn't said anything because this is so normal to her. This is just an everyday Thursday. She just like, what's going on? She don't even hear it. You know how like some mamas, Type of one in the chat if you're a mom and if you got like a lot of kids and they always calling you all the time and half the time they don't want nothing and they be like, "Mom, mom, mom, mommy." Then they start singing it, "Mommy, mommy." Like I have just auto shut off. There's a place in my mind that I can transition to where it's like a lot of kids calling me all the time and I'm like, I'm away. I'm away in my mind. That's what she's doing right now. She is so desensitized to it, she don't even hear it. She don't even hear it. That's why she ain't saying nothing. Listen to this though.
Let me check you in.
You literally work for a company that I bought a plane ticket for. I'm here 30 minutes before the flight.
Please leave, sir.
No.
Can you please leave? Why would he leave? He has purchased a ticket and he wants to go home. And she is dismissing him. You need to please leave. I don't know how these chicks thought this was going to end. I really don't. Let me read you a little bit more of this article. Basically, what happened there, and hear me, I want to be fair in how I cover this. I've been traveling a lot. And when you've been on the road, whether it's work or pleasure, and you just want to go home, I tried to, for example, when I had to leave Dallas and I missed my flight, and when I finally got to Charlotte, I'm not gonna lie, y'all, all I cared about was where is my bag? Where is my bag? But because I was tired and I was cranky, I had to constantly ask the Holy Spirit to calm me down, help me to be relaxed. So when I talk to these gate agents, it's late, they want to go home, then I am not taking my frustration out on them. So the one little girl that was helping me, she wasn't that friendly. But I was like, you know what? I'm going to kill her with kindness. I ain't going to lie. I had to go to her 3 times because the status on the app kept giving me conflicting information. And it's like they would give and then take away. One minute I thought I was going to give my bag and then I didn't. Then I did, then I didn't. And I kept going to her. I was like, hey, it's me again. I was like, you were doing such an amazing job. And I know it's late. Can you just check one more time on my bag? I said, I really need my bag tonight. And I really don't want it to go to Lynchburg without me. Can you help? And the more I would plead and be really nice and sweet to her, her defenses were down. And when she saw me the next time, she was so willing to help me. And she was like, I got good news. It's coming on Carousel 4. I was like, thank you, Jesus. I was so happy and excited. But can you imagine? Can you imagine if I had pulled out some orangutan energy and told Shaquana, listen, I don't care how long you've been here. I need my bag and I need it now. And you need to go on that computer and whoop-de-whoop and make it do what it do and do something and make my bag manifest. Like, if I had come to her like that, do you really think that she would have been willing to help me? What the heck is wrong with these chicks? That they're like, can you please leave? There was no compassion toward the customer. If you work and travel, you already know it's high stress and people want to go home. And if you are not about to make a flight, how stressful that is, the least she could have done is say, sir, we're going to do our best to get you through the gate and check you in. I don't know what's going on with the kiosk, but we want to help you because I thought the goal was to have them fly the airline over and over again. But with this kind of behavior, it makes absolutely no sense why anyone would want to do business with like, how did they get through the interview acting like this? What kind of screening process is in place? Like, y'all don't have an orangutan like meter or something, and you can't sniff that out in the interview? I don't know. The customer said, they were like, it's your fault for not checking the website. Sorry, it's on you. He said of the moments before he started filming. After a 20-minute back and forth, the passenger said he finally relented and agreed to pay the fee. As he reached for his wallet, he copped to muttering, I'm never flying this SHI airline again. And when this is what the customer said. He says, when I said that, the lady who I was talking to took a step back and gasped and was like, how dare you curse at me? I'm not checking you in. I don't have to check you in. And my reaction was, you will check me in. I think those were the words that I used, quote, he said. And when he said that, she completely went off. I don't know if ballistic is the word, but essentially she shut off completely and absolutely refused to check me in. Listen, I'm telling you, I don't know if your name is Tom or Bill, whatever your name is, sir. Listen, this is how she treat her baby daddy. You a man. It don't matter. It don't matter if you were white or black. She would shoot. Had you been black, she probably would have treated you worse. She probably would have treated you way worse because this is how they do. They so used to treating the baby daddy like this that it don't matter. Let's play this a little bit more.
Can you please leave my personal space?
I'm not in your personal space.
You're
This
in my
is
face?
not your
I work
personal
here.
space.
This is my stationery.
This is not
I'm at
your
Frontier.
personal space. You work for a company. This is not your personal space.
We ain't gotta worry about it. We ain't gotta worry about it.
You don't have to worry about it. You're literally not doing your job for a customer.
She like, we ain't gotta worry about it. He ain't get on the flight. And the Mima. Do y'all see this Mima over here? Who she's not trying to I'm trying to figure out where are the adults here. Where are the adults? Now, Tom on the other side, the white guy, I think he's scared of them. So he don't want to step in. He just addressed the white guy like, well, since you claim you don't want to fly again, we should help you. But he's not going to say that to them because he already knows that's going to set them off. So the white guy who's afraid, and I'm trying to understand all this male cowardice, this type of behavior is going to continue until we get some men that put these broads in their place. I'm sorry, because they like rabid dogs. You got to put them down.
That has paid for a plane ticket to get home.
I told you to stop putting the camera on me, sir.
I'm literally here at Frontier. I bought a ticket and they are not letting me check in. For no reason whatsoever.
Well, you said you're never flying the airline again, so we might as well help you out and have you not fly the airline.
I've already bought a ticket. I've literally already bought a ticket, and this is your reaction.
Y'all, listen. I'm glad I wasn't there. Because in situations like this, minding my business is hard, and I could hear my husband in my ear, mind your business, don't say nothing that don't concern you. You ain't involved. But I would have been like, y'all are so shameful. Y'all are so shameful. I am not even coming from the position that the customer is always right. Because sometimes customers just want you to do things that are just outside of the bounds of just general customer service expectations. But I'm like, I'm listening to this man. It's not like you got two orangutans arguing with another orangutan and they both going back and forth. The man is like, I just want to go home. Why won't you check me in? And it's almost like they want to punish him. They want to punish him to remind him, we're in charge. You ain't going nowhere unless we say so. And since we say you ain't going nowhere, you ain't going nowhere. And my thing is, not one time did they think ahead, like, you know what? This behavior might cost me my job. This behavior might cost me my professional, professional reputation. This might make it to social media. Actually, orangutans are such imbeciles that they would be the ones to release this footage because they don't see nothing wrong with it. They think this is them. You showed them. You told them who was in charge. I'm like, it's one thing for us to see a bunch of Frontier customers fighting, but when you have gate agents acting like this toward the customers, this is not sustainable. This is not sustainable. How do we have a civilized society when you can't even train the orangutan behavior to suppress itself during 9 and 5? Like during the hours of 9 and 5, you can't suppress this. You can't suppress the orangutan energy, at least while you're at work, and leave this for when you at the Walmart. I don't know. I don't understand. I just know when I saw this, it made me so angry because I'm like, someone has emboldened this kind of behavior in the culture, and someone is encouraging it. And unless we shame and expose and help people to see, one, all Black women don't act like this. Two, we need to label this behavior as orangutan behavior and identify these cretins when they manifest themselves and shame the heck out of them so that they will reform or repent. Because honestly, even apart from the sovereign saving grace of Christ, pagans can at least modify their behavior and act accordingly when needed. Right? Like, you don't have to be indwelt with the spirits to act normal at work. You don't. But I am so tired. This is a professional environment. And these women had jobs and were so bold enough to record their foolishness. And it's not like they realize, you know what? In this moment, I may feel like this man is not going to get on the plane, but I'm not going to tell him that. I'm not going to tell him that. That's what they told him. So, I wanted to cover this. One, to highlight the orangutan behavior that is running rampant in the culture. I want to disavow it. I want to label it. I want to give it a name. I want to shame the heck out of this kind of behavior because I'm so tired of seeing it. I'm tired of seeing it at the grocery store. I'm tired of seeing it at the Starbucks. I just watched another video the other day, a police cam video, where a chick ordered a drink and a cookie. And she has yet to articulate. I might cover. She did not articulate why she wanted a refund. Mind you, she's got said drink and cookie in her possession. But because they wouldn't give her a refund, she refused to leave. The police had to be called. They asked this woman 10 times to leave the establishment, and she wouldn't. She argued with the police, left her children in the car, and the oldest little girl, who couldn't have been more than 7, is coming in trying to figure out what is taking my mama so long. And the little girl witnesses her mother arguing with the police. And the 7-year-old, I'm assuming she's 7, is like, Mama, please don't do this. Little girl starts crying, begging her mama not to do this. And the police end up having to arrest her and wrestle her orangutan big back behind down to the ground in front of her children. And it didn't have to end that way. It's all because she had to be right. She had to assert whatever it is she wanted at that moment. And because they wouldn't comply to her demands, she refused to leave. She resisted arrest. She threw the drink on the ground and injured an officer in the process. She had a 7-year-old and some other smaller children asleep in the car. And they had to haul her ratchet behind off to jail. And the part about it that broke my heart so much was that the baby was crying, and the fool mother on the floor is like, call your father, call such and such, call somebody. And the little girl, she's nervous, she's frazzled, and I guess she wasn't dialing fast enough. The mama's yelling at her. The girl is traumatized. She's crying. This little girl pleaded with the mama, Mama, please don't do this. Mama, please don't do this. Why does a child have to remind you how to act? Huh? I'm telling you. These orangutans are out loose. They are loose. They are rabid. And if you can identify them on sight, you need to stay far away from them. You need to stay as far away from them. I don't know. I'm curious to know what y'all think. Like, if y'all think, April, you are just being so harsh calling these women orangutans. What you want me to call them? Hebrew scholars? I mean, rocket scientists? The orangutan label is a behavioral descriptor, not a dermal one. It is no indication of what they look like and has everything to do with how they behave. It is my word. It is what I call them. I'm not apologizing for it. And every time I cite one, I identify to help the culture know that's what you're dealing with right there. Female imbecile. She's a female imbecile. She can't manage her misery. That's why she's showing out. So that's all I want to say about that. Lord have mercy. Y'all, that made me so mad. Oh, it made me so mad. Huh. We got the big homie, Nate the lawyer, in the house. Y'all, if you have not been exposed to the Nate the Lawyer YouTube channel. You are in for a treat. Nate covers so much of these legal proceedings and lawfare and situations where folks are catching cases, and he has an amazing delivery and a style of delivering content that breaks down these legal matters in just layman's terms to kind of help you understand. And I so appreciate his content. Thank you, Nate the Lawyer. He said, congrats on 100K. Next stop, 1 million subscribers. Listen, if I could only hope, if you two would act right, I gotta reapply for my silver play button. Well, it was my fault. It was something I did last summer, but I'm gonna reapply. I inadvertently showed a trailer that had some questionable content in it, and then when they gave me an opportunity to fix it, my stupid butt uploaded the exact same file and not the revised file. So it's my fault. I'm owning it. It is what it is. But thank you, Nate, for stopping by today. We have I skipped one. I am so sorry. Boy mom sends a super sticker and says, keep it up. Absolutely, I will. Thank you so much for being a member of the YouTube channel. Actually, I've got something new for the members of the channel. This month I'm dropping another devotional. This one is on the war between the flesh and the spirit. And if you're a member, you can get it for free. And then for everybody else, it's gonna be $9.99. But I'll tell you guys a little bit about that a little later. But thank you, Boy Mom, for the super chat. Chris Creative says, Kevin Samuels used to say, companies hire Black women and put them in gatekeeping positions to protect their assets because they act like this bulldogs. I remember him saying that. And he's absolutely right. For whatever reason, these women really believe that these companies belong to them, and they gatekeep and they guard it like their lives depend on it. I've never seen it. Like, I don't know why they thought the airline was going to take their side with them acting like this. I want to ask too, who raised you is the first question, and I probably kind of already know, right? Matriarchal squalor raised them. And then two, why is it that at their age, they have not learned how to conduct themselves in the workplace? How you act at the Walmart, at the Dollar Tree, at the club is a different you. Frontier you is not ratchet you. I don't care how ratchet you act when you are off the clock. Okay? I don't care if you pop a gold front end and riding dirty down 20. When you get to work, you can't be Shaquana. You got to be Shanice. Okay? Like you just gotta, you're supposed to know how to act accordingly. And it seems like this generation is so entitled, and they've been allowed to emote and show out and just be orangutans that they don't know how to properly conduct themselves depending on the environment. Stop hiring these heifers. Like, just stop hiring them. You can't give them a chance. They have to prove themselves that they know how to act. And until then, no, you can't come work for me. No, at all. And a lot of times, all you gotta do is go to their social media profiles and you'll see if they're in a ratchetang or not. If they're dumb enough to put their ratchetang behavior on the internet, like on their social media timeline, yeah. I'm not saying it needs to be used, as the make or break deciding factor in hiring, but you need to take it under advisement and be like, yeah, she always fight with a boyfriend. She always neglecting her kids. She always into something. Is she gonna bring this to work? Possibly. Protect your assets, but this is a liability right here. That's a liability. But okay, it's 9:55. We covered Frontier. We covered Nike. Y'all, we got to get to this Shiloh. Lord have mercy. This Shiloh Hendrix story. I already know some of y'all ain't gonna like my take on it, and I'm gonna do my best to be fair. I really am. But it's hard. It's hard for me to be emotionally like all up in arms over some words. So I'm gonna do my best. I'm gonna do my best. We're gonna talk about it. So what I have to do to give you guys some context, the Shiloh Hendrix controversy, in my opinion, is the end result of when a culture keeps like poking the bear, and now I want to say the Black community is getting a taste of its own medicine, and it doesn't feel good. It doesn't feel good. And if you know anything about me, I absolutely love the Constitution. I love this country, and I love all of the amendments, especially the First Amendment. And I'm just one of those free speech kind of people. I don't like censorship. Outside of censoring things, appropriate things, and shielding children from it, I'm kind of one of those, like, words don't hurt me. Like, I was called the N-word, ER, not A-E-R, in the 10th grade when I attended private school in the capital of the Confederacy, back in 1995. And I'll never forget, I was taken aback because I couldn't believe it happened. I was like, did he just call me the N-word? And he did. And my initial knee-jerk reaction was like, oh, okay, that's what we doing. Now, I could have allowed that word, or should I say internalized that word and allowed it to define me. But I didn't. I was just like, oh, he is super ignorant. Now I know which one in my class is super racist, and I'm just going to stay away from him. And I think the teacher was shocked. All the kids in the class were shocked. Like, nobody knew what to do. Everybody just kind of froze. And I don't know what they were expecting me to do. I was just like, okay, well, he's stupid. I was like, listen, I don't even want to be in this class anyway, but I don't have a choice. So can we move on? Like, I didn't really want to be the center of attention. I kind of just brushed it off. And so I don't get emotionally like worked up over the N word. ER, or the hard A or the hard ER. I don't. Why? Because within Black vernacular, we use the N word all the time. Like, all the time. And I understand when we use it, we're using it as a term of endearment, or in like a brotherly, camaraderie sense. Okay. Or depending on the aggression and the tone and how it's said, it means a different meaning. So it really just depends. But overall, it's a word that you have some aspects of our community are going to use it. They're not going to stop using it. They're going to call each other that. They're going to call other people of different ethnicities that. They're just using it as a derogatory term, and it's not reflective of the person's ethnicity. It's more of a behavioral description, right? Okay, fine. And then you have individuals who the word is deeply painful for them. I don't know why. I'm just, this is my perspective. It is not a word that is going to cause me to crash out or to feel inferior in any way. It just doesn't. One, it's going to tell me everything that I need to know about you. And because I understand that hatred in the heart is a sin problem, I'm not trying to look to the government to legislate these spiritual issues, right? I'm just like, I can't police your speech. And even if I do police your speech legislatively, it has done nothing to eradicate the hatred in your heart that is the driving force behind the things that you say anyway. So what's the point? If I hear a white person use it, it lets me know, oh, that's how you are. But what you want to do, fight? I'm not fighting you over the word. Why? Because that gives it power. And words don't have power over me. I don't internalize them in that way. I distinctly remember my grandmother used to say, it's not what they call you, it's what you answer to. And so resilient people, strong-minded people, confident people do not think of words as weapons and then allow it in such a way to impact their daily life. So in comes Shiloh Hendrix, white woman up in Minnesota who, truth be told, she's probably, there's a whole lot of white people who feel just like how she feels. I don't know why y'all thought that went away. Problem is, the environment that we currently live in right now makes it so socially not acceptable to speak that way in public that I think Shiloh, because of the current climate, was like, I'm just so sick of this. I'm sick of stifling my hatred. I just want my hatred to come out. If they can let their hatred be made known and be manifest and say what they want to say, now that this little black child has done something to me that I feel was inappropriate, I'm going to hurl this epithet at him, and I don't care who likes it. Was it appropriate? Of course not. Why are you speaking to a child this way? Like, he's a little boy. Why are you calling the little boy an N-word? Right? But here's what I would like to say. Let's be consistent and let's just be honest. If this were two black women in the park where one black mama called another black woman's child the N-word, we wouldn't even know about it. We would know about it. We would have never heard about it. You know why? Because it probably happens more often than not, where you have two parents, where you got that one kid that is overstepping boundaries. He's either in the personal space of another child, or he's being a child, and he hasn't learned the discipline and like, you don't touch that if it doesn't belong to you. And kids are just being kids. Like, you see the two little ghetto moms at the park, and one is like, you need to tell that little nigga, you know how it is. And then the other mama be like, yo, you tell your little, and then they both going back and forth, just hurling the N-word and the MF. I mean, it's colorful language. It's colorful language. And either it escalates and the two mamas end up fighting and the kids are crying with a soggy diaper and a snotty nose. You know the environment. Or the police get called, the kids got to go and listen. It's just a mess. But the point I'm making is, if it were two black mamas where one black mama called the other little kid the N-word with the A or the hard ER, we wouldn't be having the NAACP involved, right? We wouldn't have GoFundMe's topping almost $1 million collectively on both sides. Like, we wouldn't have none of this. Why? Because it's okay for two blacks to exhibit degenerative behavior and to call each other out their names and to have the children involved. That's just a normal Saturday morning at the playground for some communities. But because the black little boy was called the N-word by the white woman, now the whole country has got their eyes on this case, and now it's smoking out racists on both sides, right? It's smoking out the entitled black folks who are trying to act like their pearls are just clutched so tight. And the pain and the wounds of the past, it's like a Band-Aid being ripped all over again. It lies. You probably called your own child the N-word and a little MF for this morning. Where's the lie? I know parents that talk to their kids that way. And I'm like, what is wrong with you? Why are you talking to your child like that? They do it all the time. But now all of a sudden, because Shiloh, who she look a little rough around the edges. She all tatted up and she's just like, F you, F this. She like a little ghetto white chick. She's just doing what other ghetto poor white trash people do, which is speak their mind and they don't care what you feel about it. The only problem is she's the wrong color. And now she's being exposed for being racist. And my thing is, either we have freedom of speech to say whatever the heck we want to say, and it applies to both sides, or we don't. But if we start getting to the point where now they're calling to lock this woman up and put her in jail, I'm like, wow, y'all really milking this. Y'all are going to grift and milk this to the nth power. Just squeeze blood out of a turnip. That's what we gonna do. I don't take you serious. I don't. I'm not excusing it or saying it was completely inappropriate and childish and immature and cruel to call a child that. It is. But Shaquana called her own child a little N-word every day in the grocery store, when she pick him up from daycare, when she drop him off with his little no good daddy. Like, why are we trying to act like this? Like, we've never heard this before. We've never heard an adult call a child an N-word. Y'all stop it. So let's go ahead and let's get the orangutans down. And should Shiloh Hendrix be arrested? Okay. Now, I have several clips that I want to show. I had already said that I was going to cover Mark Lamont Hill's meltdown on this situation. So I have like a really, really long clip that I want to share. And I'm going to stop and start because I want to expose some hypocrisy. And I want to expose the fact that this word only has power when certain people use it and when we selectively want it to have power because we enjoy being victims. Oh, I think we drink it and we eat it like it's a protein shake. Like I ain't had my victim shake this week. Can I go and find me a serving of victimhood? Two things can be true at the same time. Shiloh was wrong, but Black people are hypocritical and they need to stop it. And to call for this woman to be arrested is just stupid. It's stupid and silly because if this is where we're going, every time we hear Black women call white women Karens, every time we hear Black women call white people cracker and all kinds of derogatory names, are we going to call for their arrest too? Are we going to call that they're arrested? I mean, since we're trying to be consistent in police speech, do I believe there's even a such thing as hate speech? I mean, speech can be hateful, but you are only personally harmed by these words because you give them power. That's why you're personally harmed and offended. But you've lost nothing outside of just some hurt feelings. However, when you allow and give this word that much power over you, all this does is prove to white people that you just weak and you have no resilience to withstand anything. That's why they don't respect you. Because all they got to do is hurl one little word at you and you are melting down, rolling around in the grass. Hear me clearly. The child did not deserve to be called that. But my question is, why aren't the adults? Let's take the autism out of it. Because if I'm not mistaken, the little boy's autistic, so he may not even understand the full depth of what has happened. But let's just assume this was a child that is on track developmentally, and he's 4, and this has happened to him. Would this be the perfect opportunity to teach him, you know what, son, today at the playground, that lady said something that was not very nice. And when people say things to you that are not nice, this is how you respond. You don't show them, you don't give them any energy. Ignorance is, you're going to encounter so much ignorance in the world, and you're going to encounter it based from people who look like you and people who don't. But how you respond to it is really going to give a testament as to how I'm raising you and how resilient you are to actually face real atrocity and real oppression in this world. But that little word that she called you, that ain't nothing. She's stupid. She's stupid. She's ignorant. You know, that's not who you are. And little Taquayshawn would be like, okay, and went and played and swung on the monkey bars and moved on. But now we can't do that. Now we gotta heighten it and make Taquayshawn believe that because a white woman hurled this term at him, that now that's who he is. He just gonna grow up. All that's gonna be is a poor little N-word. I can't do nothing. I can't go nowhere. Cause a little white lady named Charlotte called me an N-word. Like that is the picture of black man that the left wants us to be. And that's why they're making such a big deal out of it. And they are going to make an example out of Shiloh. And then on the flip side, you know what this is going to do? This is just going to embolden more white folks. Be like, you know what? I tried being nice, but I'm done being nice. If they want to act mean and aggressive and disrespectful, hell, I'm gonna act mean and aggressive too. And I'm telling y'all, y'all don't want a race war. You don't want a race war because y'all, they got more guns than you. Okay. You know how many white friends? I got a lot of white friends. A lot of white friends. And when we're talking amongst ourselves, white folks will strategize and plan and plot. And during the pandemic, when we didn't know what was going down, I got one white girlfriend. She sent me a messenger. She was like, listen, if stuff pop off, you come up here to Kentucky now. You're here. We got plenty of guns and plenty of ammo. I was like, I got you, sis. Don't worry about it. I got plenty of places I can run to. Why? Because I'm telling y'all don't really want a race war. Now, for me, I'm not going to participate in a race war because my people are the ones who do the will of the Father. And we all got different shades of melanin and all different colors of brown. But what's going to end up happening is if this foolishness continues, which they want it to, they really want a problem that wasn't really a problem. They're trying to make it a problem. They're trying to make black people and white people constantly fight and be at odds to where there's going to be an innocent black person killed, an innocent white person killed. Like there's going to be bloodshed. All because of this perceived hatred. And folks are going to start snapping. And my question is, I mean, may the Lord be with you. May you have enough ammo and firearms to get through the war because this is crazy. This is just crazy. But anyway, let's play this craziness.
And I don't want to live in a country where you can say an inappropriate, rude thing, which, by the way, black people can say things to white people all the time and they never get canceled. There's no backlashing about this. I want to live in a country where people are allowed to say what they want unashamedly. And you will not have...
So hold on. So this little young lady is self-admitted to be a racist. And you know what? I like white people like this. You know why? Because you ain't got to guess. She is telling you. I use the N-word often, liberally, whenever I feel like it, and I don't like you. Now I know, appreciate it. I know to stay away from you and all the people like you. It's them sleeper cells, the ones that you really don't know, that you really need to be worried about her. But she's harmless. She is harmless. I can guarantee you she's harmless. But notice Mark Lamont Hill's face when she speaks this self-evident truth. I should not be canceled for saying whatever I want to say when black people will hurl all kinds of racial epithets at white people all the time and nobody says anything. And he scrunches up his face like that ain't true. When it is. It happens all the time. But it makes us look weak when the roles are reversed and they hurl it at you and now you melt down and can't take it. I'm like, don't play in the game if you ain't willing to take some scars. Okay? I'm just saying. This is the male cowardice that I'm talking about that work. And he's gonna lie in a clip after this and claim that the N-word don't hurt him. Okay.
Say you will not have
go on, say the N-word. Go on.
No. Don't invite. No. I don't want you to invite this woman to say a racially harmful term in front of me because I'm the only on here. So if she says it, I'm the victim of it. So please don't invite her for ratings to call me the N-word because that's basically what it's going to be. There's a bunch of white people up here. You and one on the left here, and to ask her to say the N-word while I'm here is ridiculous. You would not sit here with a Jewish person and say, please use a Jewish slur in front of this Jewish. It's ridiculous. I understand you don't have any bad intent, Pierce. I understand what you're trying to do, but we already know she's racist, and I don't want to invite a racist.
Look at him crashing out. Look at him crashing out. Don't call him if you're ever in a fight. Don't call him because he can't. He can't. Let me say something really quick in passing. I was reading my comments today, and in the last video where I played this clip, I was making fun of Mark Lamont Hill, and I was talking about my hormonal imbalance and how I've got too much testosterone because I'm perimenopausal, and it's a lot better now. I'm hoping y'all knew that I was joking when I said I could beat Mark Lamont Hill. I don't know who walked away from that really thinking I thought I was froggy enough to really do it. It was a joke, and I can't believe I actually have to bring this up, but I was playing. I don't fight men. The goal of that statement was to demonstrate how weak and jellyback Mark Lamont Hill is, because I got more testosterone in my hormonally imbalanced body than he has just inherently being a man. It's called hyperbole. I'm not trying to fight Mark Lamont Hill. Okay, I am 5'2". You ain't got to know how much I weigh yet until I hit my goal weight, and I'm almost there. Y'all listen. Y'all see this? Y'all see that collarbone? Yes. Okay. But y'all see him crashing out. Now listen to what he's about to say. That was just funny. I'm sorry. I can't watch that enough to see she didn't say the N-word. He's mad at Pierce for even mentioning or trying to entice her to say it. And look how strong and powerful she looks compared to his erratic. Like, everybody's laughing at him. No one respects him. Everybody's laughing at him, including the racist white woman. And I don't blame her. Because I'd be like, if you are the mascot and representative for strong masculine black male in the black community, y'all in trouble. Like, if I'm the white girl, that's how I'm looking at him. That's how I'm looking at him. He's weak.
Harm to me. So by the time I got to the end, my thing was, and some people, I got all these, I sent you a couple, I think one of them, I got so many racist emails and tweets and, I mean, which always happens when I go on TV, right? But this was very particular because people thought the right was, or the conservative racist right was saying like, you know, he chimped out. That's what they.
No. I'm conservative. I'm on the right. And I'm not racist. I just called it like I saw it. I called you a punk. You crashed out on a show and lost it. And she didn't even use the N-word. You said her using it would have caused you emotional harm. Who uses that kind of... What man talks about emotional harm? Your emotions ain't got no business being harmed by a woman that you're not in a relationship with. You're not married to her. You ain't got no kids together. This woman gonna cause you emotional harm. This is what you said. That's what he said.
I always say, right, that's the language they use, right? That I chimped out over the N-word, that I got so upset about the N-word, and people missed the point. I wasn't angry at the prospect of hearing the N-word. I hear the N-word all the time, right? I was frustrated with Pierce for trying to create a space to invite someone or dare someone to use that word, because he shouldn't be able to do that.
Why not? Why can't he dare someone to use it? Why can't she use it? And why are you're allowed to say it? You hear it all the time. So the word don't bother you, but just the invitation, the provocation of use of the word made you crash out. Nigga, don't nobody believe you. If you don't cut it out. This race grievance industry is so profitable, but and it's making some money. But you are losing your self-respect and your dignity in the process, and your manhood. Like, that is gone. Because any self-respecting masculine man that says her words can cause emotional harm, you deserve to be pimp slapped. You deserve it. And then to say, well, it's not the word. So then what is it? Is it the word, or it's not the word? Or it's just the invitation of the use of the word? So words are sticks and stones. Like, there's the sticks and the stones now. Out of all of the things that are wrong and deficient in our community, this is the hill we're dying on. Because one white woman called a little black boy the N-word. This is what we're spending all of this time Like, y'all, the NAACP is involved now. They're calling for this woman's arrest. I'm like, all right, the bed y'all make, I hope you're prepared to lie in it. I hope so. I really do.
Right? Like, if I'm the only black, like, again, if they were, it would be like me saying, yo, you won't say the B word. You won't say it. You won't say, call her one. Go ahead. Right? Like, who am I to invite you to do that to prove your sexist?
I feel like the community in Rochester gathering to rally and call for charges for a woman seen using racial slurs in a video that went viral last week.
What are you going to charge her with? Hurt feelings? What are we going to charge this woman with? And the thing about it is, the person who was on the receiving end of the word, he don't even know what it means or that he was even called something wrong. It's the person who was filming it who was outraged of her using the word. So my question is, what are we charging her with? What are we charging her with? Abusive language? So when Taquayshawn mama cusses him out in front of all his friends on the basketball court, when she slap him upside the head and tell him to get his arse in the house, I mean, are we going to start arresting her too? Are we going to start arresting Shaquana when she start cussing out the person in the Popeyes drive-through line and calling using the N-word? Like, where does this end? This is dumb. All this white virtue signaling of love brings us together. Well, no kidding. No kidding. We don't need signs to remind us of that. But we're also giving power to a word that the same people who claim to be offended use all the time toward one another. They call their children this. They call their spouses this. They call their boyfriends this. It's in rap songs. The whole culture of low expectations in the black community, they use the word and they sprinkle it like it's tahini or Lorry seasoning salt. It's like the little extra oomph on the meal. So now you're calling for this woman to be arrested. For what? On what basis? Because she hurt somebody's feelings. And then my question is, whose feelings did she hurt? Now, y'all ain't gonna like this, but if the little boy autistic, that means he don't even know what's going on in terms of this racial slur. We're giving power to something that the person on the receiving end is probably like, I don't even remember what happened that day. Can I get my ice cream? You know, like, can I get my goldfish? It's the adults, either in his life or in the culture, that's making this a big deal. No, we don't need to excuse it. No, we don't need to explain it away, but we don't need to be doing all of this. Because my thing is, like I said, the mamas that cuss their kids out regularly, are we going to charge them too? Because now, if words are actual weapons, this is not going to end well. Where does the First Amendment begin and where does it end? Because we can't say we believe in the right to free speech except when black people's feelings are hurt. And don't give me, well, what if it was a Jew? I'm still trying to understand. Y'all ain't gonna like this. Why we gotta tiptoe to the tulips around them too? All of these special groups, these people groups of special interest, nobody is special. You want to know why? Because we're all filthy, wretched sinners in need of a savior with God's wrath abiding on our heads. And all of us want to glory in our flesh and make ourselves to be more special than the next people group when we're all just dust and dirt. You are clay from the ground and you're going to return right back to the dirt. Unless you're in Christ and you get a glorified body, like, this is stupid. Like, the money. This is when I realized, I said, being a victim is profitable because both sides have raised money. And to be fair, I'm not saying it's right for white people to be donating to her, but we also got to take in consideration white people are tired of y'all. Like, I'm tired of y'all. So I know the white folks are like, these little, they done pushed me to my limits. And even if they never admit it, they're like, we this one for the home team. We just gonna go and give her a little $5 because they're trying to destroy this woman's life. And I don't understand. Black women are allowed to say whatever they want to whoever they want. And I've never seen charges brought against Black women for calling white people all kinds of derogatory names or calling their own children the same derogatory names. I've never seen it. So if it's good for the goose, it need to be good for the gamet. Not saying we all gonna go to jail. We're all gonna go to jail. Because if some of us are honest, if we're just honest, the N-word is probably on your top 5 list of favorite words to use. And you know it. You know it. Either you're gonna be honest or not. I'm not here for the games. Now, you ain't gonna admit it in the chat, but if it's in your top 10 list of favorite words, go on and leave it too. I'm just joking. You ain't gotta tell on yourself.
Crowdfunding sites are now seeing hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Y'all, this little yellow dress is cute. I'm sorry, I know they ain't got nothing to do with it, but when I saw this dress in black on, was it Poshmark? And I was gonna get it. She is wearing that dress. I don't know your name, girlfriend, but you look cute in the yellow.
Raised for both the woman and the family on the receiving end of those comments.
Yeah, a lot of people talking about this story. Fox 9's Rob Olsen was there for that rally today and joins us now live in Rochester. Rob, really quite the situation down in southeast Minnesota tonight.
Yeah, it's been a week now since this happened, and it really keeps growing here. The emotions keep growing, and the response keeps growing as well. There's going to be another rally here at Soldiers Field Park in Rochester, due to start here at any minute. There'll be a town hall meeting hosted by the NCAA Rochester, the NAACP in Rochester. That will happen on Wednesday evening, and of course that noon rally today, where people are very, very emotional about what happened and really also what's happened since.
This is cap. We won't even have a rally every weekend in Chicago for all the Black men that gunned down other Black men in senseless violence, but they are holding a rally because one white woman threw the N-word at a little Black boy. I'm like, you know what? Y'all are some kind of ignorant. This is retarded to me because we've raised all this money. We always talking about, there's no money in the hood. Y'all managed to raise $500,000. I don't know if it's for the little boy or his family. Y'all raised all this money and y'all are having a rally because your feelings are hurt because one white woman said something. Do not tell me that we don't have Black inferiority and that they're the ones that are elevating and promoting white supremacy. Because ain't nothing like being made to feel supreme when you can say one word and then all of this is the result. Oh, that's some supremacy. Now, they ain't supreme over me. They supreme over all of y'all that's feelings are hurt that showed up to this stupid little rally to explain how hurt your feelings are and how just the pain of the past. Like, people don't understand the weight of that word. Do you understand the weight of that word? How many people done called you the N-word? How many people have you called the N-word today? Let me rephrase that. And then you are going to have a segment of people that are like, I never use that word because it's just so ugly and it's just so painful. Okay, that might be you. I applaud your virtue. I applaud your virtue if you don't use the N-word. I'm just trying to peep you up on game. The whole lot of Black folks use the N-word all the time. They just do. And they fluctuate between the hard ER and the A. It just depends. It depends on the context and what they're trying to convey when they say it. But Shiloh, oh no, Shiloh got the whole country up in arms. That's power. You talking about some white power. That's some white power for you. Now, she ain't got no power over me. I don't play that. That word has no power over me. I ain't crashing out over it. Y'all are the ones crashing out over it. And you look stupid. You know why you look stupid? Because your communities are trash. Your schools are at the bottom. Most of the takeaways in the hood can't even read. And we won't raise money to put a literacy program in their community, but you'll raise money because someone called them the N-word. Somewhere our priorities are out of order. And I don't know what it's going to take for you to realize that we are putting way too much emphasis on the wrong things and not enough emphasis on the right things. You won't clean up your hood. You won't vote these sorry Democrats out that won't give you school choice. You let the illegals come in and you keep voting for the party that brings the illegals in. But someone called one black child the N-word, and now we got a whole rally and meetings and GoFundMes. This is the stupidest thing I've ever seen in my life.
We need to stand together for the right of all people.
Whose rights were violated? Stand together for what? She hurled a word at a child that was inappropriate and wrong. I guarantee you that little boy is probably watching SpongeBob SquarePants right now on a tablet. I guarantee that's what he's doing. It was 10:30. He may or may not be in bed. Don't tell me these people are not grifting for attention. This is Marxism. Don't feed into this. Listen, if you are white on here, don't feed into this foolishness. You have nothing to apologize for. You didn't say the N-word. You don't have to internalize what Shiloh did, but you also don't allow the hatred in your heart to well up to where now you like, I'm so sick of these ends that I don't even want to be around them. Because if this is getting bad, let me fix that. Okay. Here's what I'm trying to say. Marxism seeks to divide and conquer. So it has to have black people hating white people hating black people, men hating women hating men. It's got to have that. There has to be the division. You name the construct of the category, they have to put you at odds with each other. Why? Because that's where the anarchy comes in. And if they can get anarchy, then the people at some point are going to beg for the government to step in and do something. That's what they want. And the NAACP is overwhelmingly Marxist. They don't care that your kids can't read. They don't care that the Democrat Party is sexualizing your kids. They don't even care that 34% of black male youth identify as homosexual. They don't care about that. They don't care that the vast majority of abortions are occurring on black women and we're beyond the rate of replacement. You're not going to see any battle cry on their websites, locally or nationally, about any of that. But these Negroes rallied at the city hall. We need to fight for our rights.
On the steps of Rochester City Hall, a crowd of about 75 people called for unity in the face of rape.
Here's the part that gets me. Where it says, stop hate. How are you going to stop the hatred in somebody's heart unless you believe that the government is God and it has the power to change a stony, wicked hatred, a heart full of hatred, and make it love somebody? That is some serious arrogance and a God complex if I've ever seen one. We don't know racism has no place here. You're going to stop it. You can't. Just like you can't. Oh, Lord. I just caught that. Stop the hate. How? How are you going to tell a person to stop having hateful thoughts? Now, if she had caused physical harm to that child or did something in malice that and physically, that is different. But words? So now you want us to hold this woman legally liable for using words that hurt some people's feelings or actually that other people use in the same malicious kind of context, but it don't have the same effect when they use it because they got more melanin than she does. Somebody make that make sense to me. Make that make sense to me. You can't. But the Marxists, because they believe the government is God, they want the government to come in and do something. And if you don't think that this is where it's going to end, the moment Christians say, repent and turn from your sin, and they say, see, when you tell a person to repent and you call their bad behavior sin, you need to arrest her because she hurt my feelings because she told me to repent. She said that what I'm doing is sinful. How dare you? Do you see where that leads? You see how it doesn't end? So what you gonna do then? When you can't even preach the gospel, because the very concept of telling someone Jesus has spoken this, repent and turn to him, oh, now that's hate speech. See, it's relative. There's no objective standard of what's hatred. At this point, telling a biological man who believes he's a woman, some may say you're causing harm to him. That's hate speech. Can you imagine? Well, actually, it kind of was viewed as hate speech when John the Baptist told Herod, it's unlawful for you to have your brother's wife. Oh, you never got to cut your head off. I'm just saying. Policing speech never ends well, and the people who are demanding that the speech be policed are not thinking about how when they say what they want to say, how it's going to be used against them. They don't think that far ahead. They're looking at the right now grift.
About 75 people called for unity in the face of racism.
Our city is facing a crisis that has become far too familiar. Hate crimes and acts of racism are on an uptick in our community.
First of all, it's not a crime what she did. It's not a crime. Now, gun violence is probably up because folks have hatred in their heart and malice and they just want to hurt others. But to say hate crimes are up, we need to define hate crime. Because when I see ignorant people in the street and I call them ignorant, that's not me being hateful. That's me calling a spade a spade. To Shiloh, calling that little boy the N-word, she was like, well, that's how he acting. Am I saying it was appropriate? No, it was inappropriate. But she said what she wanted to say. Now we're elevating this to a crime. Either we're really weak or white people really are that powerful. I'll let y'all decide which one it is. Either we are really weak or white people really do reign supreme. And you believe that. And that's why every time they say something you don't like, you melting down and falling apart. Like you can't even move on. You can't function in where you can't do nothing. That is black inferiority. I don't know how you've made it in the world this long believing that. I don't know. I've never looked at a person of a different ethnicity and felt that they were superior over me. Even if they believed they were superior over me, I don't even know how to think in those kinds of categories. And I think perhaps this comes from my biblical worldview where I understand that apart from Christ, I'm filthy, they filthy, all of God's creation is filthy, wretched sinners, worthy of his wrath. And unless they're in Christ, they're going to do, wretches are going to wretch. They're going to have hatred, malice, they're malcontents, gossips, haters of good. I mean, are we back in Romans 1 again? I think we are back in Romans 1 again. Let me read it to you. Romans 1, 32. Is it 32? Romans 1. Yes. And since they did not see fit to acknowledge God, God gave them up to a debased mind to do what not ought to be done. They were filled with all manner of unrighteousness, evil, covetousness, malice. They are full of envy, murder, strife, deceit, maliciousness. They are gossips, slanderers, haters of God, insolent, haughty, boastful, inventors of evil, disobedient to parents, foolish, faithless, heartless, ruthless. Though they know God's righteous decree that those who practice such things deserve to die, they not only do them, but give approval to those who practice them. Listen, I am no white supremacist sympathizer, okay? I'm not. I think the white supremacist needs to repent and turn to Christ just like the black supremacists. But what I'm not going to do is give the white supremacists all this power and even remotely make them think that my feelings are hurt because they call me the N-word. Especially when I know I'm like, got called the N-word last week by my homeboy who called me like, N, what you doing? Like, I wouldn't said, I'm like, nothing. What you doing? I mean, who are we fooling here? Who are we fooling? I can't even take this serious. There was another clip that I wanted to show y'all, but I'm exhausted now. I'm really exhausted. Let's just show this.
It was 1 week ago in this Rochester playground when a white woman was overheard using a racial slur towards a 5-year-old boy. She'd accused the boy of trying to steal from her own toddler's diaper bag. A bystander confronted her, and the video, which we are not showing and in which she repeated the slurs, soon went viral. The woman, named Shiloh, then launched a fundraiser to protect her own family. It's raised nearly $700,000. She writes that they fear they might have to move after extreme threats online, and donations have come with even more incendiary racial comments.
Honestly, the incident itself was horrific, you know, accosting a child and then apparently prideful about it, but the fundraising after has just really thrown folks for a loop, including myself.
Racism has got to go! In both the rally and the brief march that followed.
Yes, because screaming in a megaphone is definitely going to drive the racism out. That works every time we've done that. Yes, racism has got to go. You mean the racism that you elevated and made manifest because of the hatred in your heart and you being racist? I hope this ain't BLM. I hope it's not. Oh, wait a minute. I see a Black Lives Matter flag. There it is right there. I told you the little Marxist fingerprints was all over this foolishness. Man, listen. Y'all ain't getting me this time. I'm not emotionally entrenched or outraged at all. In fact, I'm laughing at y'all. I'm laughing at all the black folks. I'm like, you know, this racism just everywhere. And every time we look, they saying something to hurt us. Here goes Black Lives Matter. There go the Marxists. They love the chaos. They love the division. And notice, I see 2 white people, 1, 2, 3, 4 white people. Those are the virtue sympathizers. And then the other 2 black people. This is hilarious.
Came more calls again for criminal charges. Police did finish their investigation over the weekend. The city and county attorneys will now decide if, in fact, any laws were broken.
Well, we want her to be prosecuted.
For what? You want her to be prosecuted? For what? You got a no snitching policy in your own community. You know Taquayshawn shot Big Mike, and we don't hear a word out of you. But you want Shiloh Hendrix, a white woman who hurled the N-word at a little black boy who don't even know what's going on. You want her prosecuted. Now, either I'm stupid or it's you, and I don't think it's me. Prosecuted for what? For words? Oh, yes. She was aggressive with her hatred. Yes, she was real arrogant with her hatred. She gave lots of fingers and birds, and she didn't give a darn. She ain't nothing but an orangutan. And just like the black orangutans that we talk about all the time. She couldn't manage her misery, and she chose that day to show out. Why are we not arresting the orangutans who are black, who are real hateful and wicked and evil every day, and who call their own children the N-word? Why are we not arresting them? What's the crime? Like, you standing there with the black power Marxist fist, we want her to be prosecuted. For what? What's the crime? What is the crime? This is dumb. Why don't you go teach Taquayshawn how to read? We can't get you to volunteer, give any volunteer hours to that, but you'll volunteer and take time off of work to come down to the city hall so you can have a cameo appearance and look stupid.
And we want to continue spreading love. You got to spread love.
Love of who? Love of who? Why don't you start with loving yourself in your own community and go hold your own community accountable? Why don't we start with that? What love are you talking about? On what basis? What love? Love in who? What's the standard of love? Because the true standard of love would be like, you know what? Shiloh must be really broken inside and hurting to have hurled that type of verbiage toward a 5-year-old. We're going to pray for Shiloh. Let's get Shiloh some help. Let's help her to find peace with God and be reconciled to him. But instead, we get a protest. And then he going to talk about love. No. You don't have to worry about what these people think about you. You love them, but you can't control how they feel about you. And if they bold and froggy enough to call you the N-word to your face, okay, you want to prosecute? It's crazy. Should she be raising this kind of money? I mean, I know black folks. They so emotional and up in arms, it ain't no telling what kind of hate and death threats they done hurled toward this woman. Listen, it's hatred on both sides, and it is wild that she got to raise that much money. But I'm not surprised. I am not surprised. It's a whole lot of sleeper cells full of white folks who are like, keep playing with us. Keep playing. Keep playing. Now they out. Now what you gonna do? Because I'm about to cover in a little bit where Jasmine Crockett is talking about the KKK and the Proud Boys and the white supremacists. And I'm like, when the last time we seen the KKK do something? When the last time, like, the Proud, like, all the hood mischief and crime that we got this heifer out here talking about the Proud Boys and the KKK? You can't be serious. Anyway, I'm going to wrap this up in a little bit. I'm going to let him finish.
Again, no word on exactly how long it could take to decide if there's any criminal charges here, whether it's city or county level, misdemeanor or felony level. We'll be waiting on that as they review this incident to see, again, if there's a crime here or not. The NAACP did have a fundraiser as well for the family of the child involved in this. That fundraiser went more than $300,000. They've since shut it down, but they say that will go to help that family as well as support other. So
what do they need $300,000 for? Listen. If all it takes is for somebody to call me the N-word to get $300,000, somebody please call me the N-word. Please call me the N-word so I can melt down and get a GoFundMe. Like this. Lord, let me get off this live stream. Y'all are out here. Who donated to that? I'm trying to understand. What is this? What did the family, the little boy, need $300,000 for? Because someone called him a bad name. Like, can we start GoFundMes when, like, random people on the street, when you do something they don't like, they call you a B? Can we do that? Or what if someone on the street just be like, you an ugly mud duck? Now my feelings are hurt. Now it's a crime. Like, you can't call people mud ducks. I'm just trying to see where this ends. And I mean, who decides what words we can say and what words that we can't? We will have no First Amendment if we keep this foolishness up. Y'all keep raising your money. Little Taquayshawn family gonna run through that $300,000. It's gonna be gone by the end of the year. Cause it ain't like they need legal representation. For what? Chat, listen. Okay. All right. This what we doing. Okay, this what we doing. Let me get to some super chats and we're gonna get the jazzy lashes. We're gonna get the lashes in a little bit. Lord have mercy. Let's get to the super chat. Back to common sense. To common sense. Thank you so much for your super chat. Says, I wholeheartedly believe that it is time for another amendment to the Constitution to become specifically that only kind and disrespectful speech is protected. It's high time. Let me make sure I'm understanding what you mean. Time for another amendment to the Constitution to become specific that only kind and respectful speech is protected. I'm black and slow. I probably should have read that in the context of when I said it, because I don't want to misunderstand what you're saying. Back to common sense now. I appreciate it, but I need some more context. I just I think it's silly when adults start saying, you know, your words hurt me. Well, your words hurt me. I mean, this is childish and it's juvenile and it's so sad because the poor child who was the one who was the recipient of the word, like, where were his parents? Like, where was the mom? Because we see the little innocent bystander who took offense to it, but where the little boy mama? Because listen, I'm from the hood and I remember being in the projects in the playground. Like, when one parent would say something or be like, hey, like, your son is doing so and so, or they're digging in my bag. I've seen project mamas snatch up their own kids and be like, I mean, they hurl some of the most derogatory language at the child and snatch the child up. Like, I've seen that. So I'm trying to figure out where was this little boy's mother? Where was the mother or the guardian or who had him at the park? Like, how did it get here? That's kind of what I want to know, but I don't know. Brother Lamont, thank you so much for your super chat. Said happy Mother's Day, April. Thank you so much. No, you're not a mother. That wouldn't be appropriate. Thank you for wishing me happy Mother's Day. Y'all, this one is gonna be quick. This one is gonna be quick because we've got to cover Jasmine Crockett. Jasmine Crockett was recently on a podcast, and I'm so confused as to what kind of podcast this is. But in any event, she's on it, and her low IQ self is just talking nonsense as usual. And so, what I want to do is I want to cover it because I want to address some historical inaccuracies and just highlight how Jasmine assumes, and it's a pretty fair assumption, that the vast majority of her constituents are ignorant. She banks on their ignorance, and I don't understand why she's allowed to say the things that she says and it goes unchallenged in the moment when she says it. But it could be because the people on the platform that she's on, they're either afraid or they don't know how to combat her lies with the truth. So let's take a look to see what she's talking about here.
They try to act like, oh, political violence, it's the Democrats and it's the liberals. And it's like, actually, I mean, I'm not going to say that like a left-leaning person cannot be violent, because that would be like crazy to say that somebody can't be. But baby, y'all got the white supremacists galore, okay? Like all of them. You got the Proud Boys, you got the neo-Nazis. You have people that literally should be classified as domestic terrorists, because a lot of times that is what they are doing. They're engaging in domestic terrorism. And guess what? They all align with your side. Yeah. Including the KKK. So like, I mean, this is who aligns with that. So like inherently in like who you are, y'all are violent. Like y'all, and most of your violence has to do with people that's got a little bit of melanin. But nevertheless, like y'all are a violent group of, like, you attract violent actors. And like, I'm sorry, I know they tried to make Black Lives Matter out to be the most violent. What about Black Lives Matter? No. So that's the thing. Like, they try to pretend like that.
Y'all, this woman wears me out. So the first thing she says that makes absolutely no sense is she asserts that when it comes to political violence, you could possibly say that the left is violent, but not really. Now, she doesn't prove that, even though we've got observable reality to prove that the left is overwhelmingly violent. I mean, we experienced in 2020, 2021. I mean, Black Lives Matter, Antifa, burning up cities. Every time something happens and it doesn't go their way, whether it's Roe v. Wade and these crazy pink-haired women and abortion, transgenderism, all these people know it's violence. She mentions in passing that, we could kind of be considered violent, but no, all the violence is on the right. And I'm like, where are all of these violent factions on the right? And can we name the instances and the situations of violence that is and is currently happening at the hands of these far right groups? Because I ain't seen no skinheads. I mean, unless you in prison, I don't know. I don't see skinheads. I don't see the KKK, like with or without the hoods. Where's the violence that the KKK in 2022 is presently enacting under the auspices of being the KKK? Where are the Proud Boys enacting violence under the auspices of being the Proud Boys? Like, where is that happening? Can we name these incidences and the people that have been victims of that violence? Because I'm struggling to come up with their names. Yet we already know that the left is overwhelmingly violent. It's characteristically so. When they don't get their way, they burn up cities, they show out. And then not only that, their violence is well funded by your homie, George Soros and his son, giving all that money to make sure there are piles of bricks in liberal left-leaning cities so that they have all of the tools and resources that they need to be violent. We had a whole summer of love where liberal cities just allowed their cities to burn. Some people got to burn off the steam. That was the left. On the right was doing that. We're too busy at work, running businesses, raising children. That's what we're doing. They're violent with their words. They're violent in their actions. Their legislation is violence, and they do nothing to protect the vulnerable at all. Then she claims that the Proud Boys and the KKK should be listed as the domestic terrorists. I'm like, isn't that already the case? But BLM and Antifa, are they labeled as domestic terrorists? Because they should be. The pipe bombs. I was the recipient of left-leaning violence when I was in D.C., when I went to support the Back the Blue in D.C., was it 2020, 2019? I'm walking on the streets of DC with my children and my husband, and this little punk left protester picked up a water bottle and hurled it at us, and it missed my head within inches. Nobody on the right that's doing that. I'm Black. But see, because they knew that I was there to support law and order and peace, those cowards thought that they could throw a water bottle at me, and the police were right there. The police were right there. Means they're not even afraid. So she's lying on face value. She's just lying. She's just making it up. And it's because Marxists cannot tell the truth, and they always project the very thing that they are accusing you of being. That is who they are. She's telling you who they are. And then she said, y'all are violent. And I'm like, who is this chick? So you just sat there and let her say y'all are violent? I'd be like, who you talking about? Who's violent? I don't know if this is some sort of pseudo left-leaning conservative show. I don't know. But I'm trying to figure out, where are these violent right-wingers? Now, y'all keep playing. Y'all gonna have these crazy far right. I mean, I'm talking about these people that are so pissed off and tired of your foolishness, and they literally do hate Black people. When they've been on the low with their hatred, they about to come out. They are about to come out. I was hoping it wouldn't get to this, but now it's going, and that means nobody is safe. That means we are creating an environment of indiscriminate violence where just on the basis of your ethnicity, not your worldview, but your ethnicity, you become a target. So for example, a person like me, I'm conservative. I don't align with none of this foolishness. I absolutely can't stand the progressive left. I can't stand liberals, leftists, Marxists, communists, socialists. I don't rock with any of that. I'm a conservative. I'm an American Negro that loves this country. But on the basis of the fact that I share the same ethnicity as this brain dead broad over here, there is probably some crazy white supremacist right right-leaning lunatic that will judge me based off of how I look and not based on what I believe ideologically. This is the foolishness that this type of rhetoric is going to yield. And this is, listen, you better be strapped. I don't know how many AR-15s you got, but we got enough. Don't come over here with that foolishness. I'm just letting you know. The thing about there are individuals on the right who, in the face of aggression, will respond aggressively. But unprovoked, they're not going to bother nobody. Unprovoked, they're like, I ain't thinking about you. But the left is provocative. They go out looking for violence. They bring the chaos. That's what it means to be a disruptor. That's what it means to be a Marxist. You are always looking for an opportunity to invoke and perpetuate violence. And what's going to end up happening is y'all going to start with the wrong one and it's not going to end well. But I wanted to highlight this one little segment. There's another segment where she starts talking about slavery and Jim Crow. And I'm like, why is she out here talking about her political heritage like this in such a negative way? She's too stupid to realize that all those negative things she was talking about, it was her party who was doing that and is still doing it. They're still the party of slavery. Now their slavery doesn't have chains. It's ideological slavery. And now they're trying to subjugate the immigrants and treat them as slaves. They're just replacing the slave class with black. Instead of black folks, it's just immigrants. So they're still the party of slavery. They're absolutely still the party of subjugation. They will subjugate you educationally, keep you in a failing school. They'll subjugate you ideologically by telling you you're a victim and that you can't achieve and that you need DEI just to come to the same place. Because you can't start from down here and then somebody is up here and you can't surpass them on your own efforts. No, you need training wheels to be brought up to this point. So I'm like, is the standard for them to help you out and to bring you here? And then when you get here, then what? When does meritocracy kick in? Because if you think about diversity, equity, and inclusion, and you use that stupid analogy that Kamala Harris used, where, some people start way down here and there are other people who start up here. So I'm like, okay, let's go with your argument and say you do something, whatever that something is, to bring this person here. Then what? What happens if this person is just better because they work harder, they are intrinsically smarter, and they're making better decisions, and they've got a better strategy? Do we keep helping this person artificially so they can keep up? Or at some point, does the person over here be like, you just got to do better? There's nothing more we can do. You'll never be this. Some of us are just going to be mediocre, and some people are okay with that. But this person right here will never be this person. They don't have the same drive, the same tenacity, the same discipline. There's so many things that this person just intrinsically lacks, and they're unwilling to do what is necessary to be this person. And for some people, that is okay. What I fundamentally disagree with is that you have to bring this person up here in order for them to compete. Because my thing is, okay, fine. Let's say we do whatever that thing is to bring them here. Then what? Because this person, because all they know is achieving based on merit, they're going to keep going. And they're going to outpace you every time. What's going to end up happening is, are you going to realize eventually that you just ain't cut out for this? You'll never measure up? Or how about, why are you worried about this person over here? Why are you worried about them? Why don't you make yourself the best version of whatever it is that God has placed in you and set in your heart to do, as opposed to be worried about, well, this one over here got this and their parents was born with that and I got a peg leg and a cockeyed. And I just, no matter what I do, my peg leg and my cockeyed. I mean, you'll never be this person. Why? Because God gives each of us gifts, talents, and abilities in different measures. In different measures. Be Lena Horne. I don't care how much skincare products I invest in, how much weave I put in my hair. I will never be Lena Horne. I just can't. I'm me. I'm how the Lord created me. I am gifted with the talents and the gifts and abilities that He gave me. Either I need to be okay with that and then do whatever it is that He has set in my heart to do it as unto the Lord and do it to the best of my ability, or I can whine and cry and complain about all the things that I don't have, constantly keeping my eyes focused on this person over here when my time could be better spent getting more discipline, getting mentally stronger. Like doing so many things to get better at your skill set than worried about the other person over here. But see, that's not something that Jasmine will ever tell you, because being a victim feels so much more better and is so much more comfortable. That's why you got Black pastors out here whining about DEI, thinking that, without DEI, you'll just never be able to be all that you can be. And I'm sitting here like, okay, so what? Let's say we make all things equal. At what point do we stop lifting you up for you to figure out and just do what you need to do on your own? Because us meritocracy people, we gonna always win. Why? We're not focused on what everybody else is doing. We're too busy with our heads down on our grind. We are competing with ourselves. We're like, I got to be better. I got to do better. I'm being real complacent. I'm being lazy today. I got to push the envelope. Was that my best? No, it wasn't my best. I'm the competition. I'm always worried about outdoing and outperforming myself. I ain't got time to keep up with you. Not if I already believe I'm better than you anyway. You really think Michael Jordan was worried about all the other players and their skill set? He was too busy trying to be the best at his craft. Do you really think Michael Jackson was worried about Prince like that? Michael's like, I'm Michael. I'm the best to ever do it. What Prince got going on? Michael is trying to outdo Michael. That's Ali. Listen, as much smack talking as Muhammad Ali did, Muhammad Ali is not worried about what everybody else was doing. You couldn't tell him he wasn't pretty and he wasn't the greatest. He's trying to outdo himself. Never asking the bar to be lowered. And when he got his butt whipped, he like, yeah, we can't let that happen again. I have to be better. Not when, it was a disadvantage because, he was taller than me, way more than me. And I just can't. I just hate whiny, weak people. It's difficult for me to respect. I don't care how many degrees you have and how many years you've spent in school. The moment you mention DEI and start whining and complaining, I've already put you in the category of that's an inadequate person right there. Don't use them for anything because they're handicapped. They're coming to the conversation handicapped, needing something versus saying, I got this. I got this. God has equipped me and enabled me to do this. And by His grace, I'm going to do it. And then if I fail, I'm just going to pick myself up and keep going. I'm going to try harder next time. I'm going to evaluate myself and determine what could I have done better. I'm not looking to the things out there. I don't know how y'all raise children to be well-adjusted citizens if your parent is telling you that, now that the DEI programs are being clawed back, I don't know what you gonna do, Shaniqua. Like, if that's your mama, ignore her. She don't... My kids? Oh, I don't play that. I know we DEI. What? Child, listen. Anyway, I want y'all to have a good evening. Josephine, girl, no. You ever try to interview Jasmine Crockett? No. Never reached out to her. I don't think that interview would go well, because what I'm going to do is I would challenge her on so many deeply held presuppositions that she'd end up probably storming out the interview, snatching her mic. She in a ratchet tang, so she can't manage a misery. She's not going to be able to engage in any meaningful way with any of the questions that I'm going to ask her, because the first thing we're going to do is we're going to deal with the lies. Why do you keep lying and telling people that the Republican Party supported slavery, and historically that's not true? Why won't you own up to the fact that if you claim you care about Black people, but you don't support not nail one policy that actually promotes their economic advancement or their educational improvement? Like, you're anti-school choice. Why would you be anti-school choice when so many of us are in failing schools? Why you don't want that money to go back to parents for them to choose what's best for them? Why are you a member of the Equality Caucus? As a Black woman, do you really think that the LGBTs issues are on the same playing field with being a member of the Congressional Black Caucus? Like, can you explain why you taking pictures with George Soros' son? Where you get all that money from in your campaign? Like, you still have money from the last time you ran. Where did it come from? Because I know Black people, they didn't donate to your campaign. You went to that predominantly white private school, and I applaud you for that. But why are you disappointing your parents with this sister girl attitude when you know you don't really talk like that? Why are you acting like this caricature version of what you think Black people should be? And when you gonna get you a new wig? Because we tired of this one. This one's ratty. We need you to get a new one. You got enough money, you can get you a good high quality weave, but the lace front is not your calling. Like, that interview won't go well, Sister Josephine. No. Now, I'll be open to it. I'm not afraid of Jasmine at all, but I don't think I've already interviewed her opponent, Sheldon Daniels, but Jasmine is not going to come on a platform where she's going to be challenged. She's not going to do it. Because there are too many substantive policy questions that I would levy her way that she has no answer for. Like, I'm like, as hard as you cape for the illegal immigrant, we don't see that same kind of energy for the constituents in your district that have been trying to figure out, when are you going to pass some legislation that's going to impact them? Like, why are you doing that? Why are you fighting for trans rights when you know the black community is beyond the rate of replacement? How do you reconcile us being beyond the rate of replacement, but yet you're pro-abortion and pro-LGBTQ, both of which are harmful to the flourishing of Black people? Can you explain that to me? I got lots of questions. I'm just getting started. You really think she won't come on here and answer those kinds of questions? No. But if you reach out to her people, let her know she is welcome. I'll be nice. I'll be on my best behavior. But what I ain't gonna do is back down. She's gonna get the hard questions. And knowing Sheldon has already been on here, I'm a conservative. And so outside of her, the way she hurled really racist, she did what she did with Byron Donalds, she can't do that with me. My husband's not white. My children are not biracial. The only thing she would have issues with is my conservatism, but on policy, my conservative policies work. And she has no history of liberal, leftist, progressive policies working for Black people. So how is she going to defend it? What is she going to say? What is she going to say? Even if she tries to be like, oh, well, Obamacare, I will tear Obamacare apart. She don't want that kind of fight. If she want to talk about Obamacare, we can do that. We can talk about school choice. We can talk about this daggone open border. We can talk about that too. She really don't want to talk about Doge and all the wasteful spending and the theft that is taking place. Oh, I will listen. She ain't coming. She ain't coming, Josephine. But if you think it's worth a try, go right ahead. Just email me and let me know when and where, and I'll be there. So, by God's grace, you guys, I'm gonna try to live stream on Monday. I can't make any promises. This week coming up is gonna be super crazy for me. I am going to be on this Wednesday. I'll be on PBS On the Contrary at 12:30. I do not know if it is live or pre-recorded, but I'll keep you posted. I will also be on another talk radio show on Friday at 12. I'm trying to remember the name. I have forgotten, but I will announce it and let you know as soon as my memory is restored to me. What else we have coming up? Y'all, shout out to Chad O. Jackson, who is working on a documentary that, y'all, I cannot wait for this documentary to drop. Allegedly, and I'm gonna say allegedly because the date keeps getting pushed back. Allegedly, we will be dropping this the 23rd ish or something like that. But I am gonna host a live event here in Atlanta and probably one in Dallas as well of a live screening, an in-person screening of this film. Chad has worked hard. Um, Chuck Littleton, Teach 'em Chuck, is in it. Vince Everett Ellison is in it. I've contributed executive producing on it. I'm just super excited about this project and I can't wait for y'all to see it. It's going to be so dope. And if you are here in Atlanta or adjacent to Atlanta, such as Alabama, South Carolina, Tennessee, North Carolina, or Florida, I am inviting you guys to come to the live screening. We want to sell it out. I'll have more information for you. We're working on the artwork for the movie poster. And so once that is finalized, I will go ahead and announce it. But Chad did not hold back on this one. He has done a phenomenal job directing this piece. And I'm just so grateful that I was able to participate and be part of it. So I'll keep you guys posted on that. And I'm starting to get hoarse and lose my voice because I think I'm dehydrated and I need some water. But keep me in your prayers. I'm still cleansing ish. I'm the weight is coming down, got a little collarbone peeking out a little bit, a little jawline a little bit, not, y'all, I think this right here is like my what do you call this? They claim the thyroid is here, but I have this gland that has been this size since I was a child. But when I gained weight, it became way more pronounced. If I could just get rid of that and just kind of do that right there, child, we'd be in business. We'd be in business. But anyway, hot flashes have all but ceased for the most part. I'm really working on my hormonal balance. So shout out to Angie and Rafa, who've been helping me with that. And as soon as I'm at my goal weight, I will share with you guys exactly what I am doing. But it does include cutting out some carbs, like a lot of them, most of them, if not all of them. And just eat more, whole foods and giving my body some nourishment that it desperately needs. So I love you guys with the love of the Lord. And until next time, you guys, I'll see you on the next one. Grace and peace.